Parents, if your kids have an iPhone, an iPad, or any other type of device, they're probably on it more than we might expect. And that's why Apple came out with the screen time controls in iOS 12. It works on the iPad as well as the iPhone. We're going to look at that now, and I'm going to show you what it is. Now, what is Apple Screen Time? Screen Time is a new feature for Apple's iOS 12 that allows users to see what apps and features they use most on their device and to set screen time limits and reminders. We're going to dive into this together. You see, the feature can be configured by parents or students and used across devices with the same Apple ID. We'll discuss more about that here in a second. The Apple Screen Time feature can be found in the settings of iPhones and iPads. At the end of the week, users receive a report of their device usage from the past week. You can also get a daily or minute-by-minute update if you just check it. Now, what is this? Well, if your family shares an iPad or an iPhone, then Screen Time doesn't have the ability to track multiple users per device. Whichever Apple ID is associated with the device will dictate the Apple Screen Time settings. Important to note, parents can access Screen Time remotely on their own devices if they choose to install this on their student's device. Now, help your family stay safe online. I have, I think, one of the very, very best webinars that my staff and I have put together. You get everything you need to know about screen time addiction and all the bad apps your kids should avoid. At the end of that, we have a Parent University offer for you. You see, Parent University is a 3-step program for every family. In about 90 days, you learn safety and you learn the skills you need to build a positive online resume. We teach you audit skills that you and your kids need to know about how to audit your online reputation to see who's posting stuff, planning skills for college and your future so you have good behaviors in your children's minds, and then resume building skills before they need them so we can show them how to shine online. You learn more by clicking the links below or just take the webinar and you'll get a great offer. Okay, Apple Marketing says Screen Time, a new feature of iOS 12, lets you know how much time you and your kids spend on apps, websites, and more. Hey, and it's not just for kids. I used this, and it is crazy to see how much time we spend on our phones. This way, you can make more informed decisions about how you use your devices and set limits. Now, what data is included in the screen time reports? Well, users can select today or the past 7 days and review how much time the device has been in use, the most used app, it's crazy, how many times the device has been picked up and opened up or unlocked, the number of notifications received. What is a downtime setting? Well, users can schedule downtime within the screen time feature. Only the apps and phone calls that the user has chosen will be available during downtime. Users can receive a reminder notification 5 minutes before it starts. For instance, if you want the phone for emergency purposes and the maps to always be on, those are the apps that you give always on status. Now, what are the app limits setting? This is different than downtime. With the app limits setting, users can set daily limits for certain app categories. Limits refresh daily at midnight. Once the app limit has been reached, the app's icon will turn gray and have an hourglass icon next to the app name, essentially saying, hey, you've used up your minutes today for this category, this app. What is the always allowed setting? Well, apps that are selected in the always allowed setting will be available during downtime and aren't affected by app limits. By default, messages, SMS text messages, FaceTime, and maps are always allowed, but you can change that within the always allowed setting. For instance, if you have a messenger system that you're using with your kids that you never want to turn off, then you can set that and so on. What is the content and privacy restriction setting? Well, within the content and privacy restriction setting, users tailor the types of content that are allowed on their device and configure what personal information apps get access to. Hey, if you're enjoying this so far, give me a thumbs up on the YouTube video, or go ahead and share this on the page that you're watching it, or go ahead and listen to our podcast by clicking the links below. I need all the support I can get to share this kind of data with other people. Please help us and subscribe on YouTube if you get a moment. Content and privacy restrictions settings. Parents can block or allow iTunes and App Store purchases, installing apps, deleting apps, in-app purchases. Parents can require a password for additional purposes, and the default apps on Apple devices as well. Now, parents can set content restrictions for music, podcasts, and news, music profiles and posts, movies, TV shows and books, apps, and so on, web content, Siri, and more. Parents can block or allow certain features in the Game Center, like multiplayer games, adding friends, screen recording, and more. Parents can block or allow certain apps from accessing information like location services, contacts, calendars, reminders, photos, and more. Now, parents can then block or allow certain apps from accessing this other information as well. Share my location, Bluetooth sharing, microphone, speech recognition, advertising, and more. You got a lot of control here, and it's worth it to take a few minutes. Josh, this is overwhelming. I get it. I understand. But it's worth it to spend a few minutes. We're going to show you how to get access to it. Also, you can restrict media and Apple Music. The point is here, we don't believe at smartsocial.com in restricting. We believe, more importantly, in having a healthy dialogue and then letting the students know we're going to turn this on. We want to work with you, and we want you to monitor your own stuff, and we'll watch over your shoulder. Parents can also block or allow changes to passcode, account changes, cellular data changes, volume limit, do not disturb while driving, very important, and the TV provider, background app activities. This is why this is important, is because a lot of parents, number one, they don't know the password to their kids' phones, which is a really big no-no, and it's really important. Another reason why this whole system exists is because people are giving pushback to Apple. People are like, listen, this is more addictive than cigarettes, alcohol, and most anything. We're getting this dopamine by looking at the screen, and people are giving pushback, and that's why they're building this stuff in here. What is the difference between app limits and downtime? Well, downtime allows users to restrict certain apps during a period of time. App limits allows users to set daily time limits for certain app categories, right? So downtime says, hey, take a break, and app limits says you've used Instagram too much today. How to turn on screen time. Now here it is on the right above my head. I'm going to turn my head off here just for a sec. You can see over here on the right, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And when you're using it, entertainment, productivity, social networking, Facebook, you've used it a ton, YouTube, Instagram. This is pretty cool. Now, on your iPhone or iPad, go to Settings and Screen Time, or just go to Settings and type in the word Screen Time. Select Turn on Screen Time, select Continue. You can select This is my device or This is my child's device, and that's how you're going to set this up for your kid. Now, how to configure the downtime setting. Go to Settings, Screen Time, Downtime. Turn downtime on. Set a start and end time. So if you want a break at 1 o'clock, you can do that, or a break at 6 p.m. during dinner time. Dinner time's a great time. We're having dinner at 6, around the dinner table, downtime, turn it on. Love that. Just came up with that live right now. Woo! Go to Settings, Screen Time, App Limits to turn on app limits. By the way, you can scroll down in Settings. You can search for anything that you see here. You can search for that feature and it'll come up in Settings. Just scroll down in Settings and it turns on. Select an app category. You add a limit, select a category, tap Add in the upper right corner. Sometimes the app you want, you don't know what category it's in. You can just add that app specifically. And you set the time limit. For instance, on Instagram, you may think, oh, 30 minutes enough. I bet your kids will go over that in just a moment's notice. They'll want it an hour at least, if not way more. Select days of the week as optional, like unlimited on the weekends and limited on weekdays, and so on. How to configure the always allowed setting. Go to Settings, Screen Time, Always Allowed. Tap the green plus sign to make an app always allowed. Phone calls, maps, location share, a few other things that are very important to your family, SMS text messages, and other stuff. Tap the red negative sign to remove an app from the always allowed. Your students might kick the Instagram into there. Now, how to configure content and privacy restrictions. Go to Settings, Screen Time, Content, and Privacy. Turn that on. Block or allow whatever you see. Now, this is where it's at. A lot of companies say, oh, we've got an app that blocks pornography and stuff. Porn companies are getting smarter and smarter. I don't believe that you can actually restrict this kind of stuff. I think it's really, really hard. It's just getting harder and harder. You're an adult, you get it. You know the wisdom that's coming out of my intent right now. It's hard because the bad guys want to get access to your kids and they're going to find 1,000 reasons, ways to do it. Here's what the LA Times said. Screen time represents the biggest move yet by a technology company to encourage less use of a device, not more. Forbes says Apple screen time is less of a digital nanny and more of a virtual manager, tallying up what you do, when you do it, and helping you achieve your goals. Now, one of iOS's headline features is screen time, which allows iPhone owners to limit the amount of time they spend using their devices on app-by-app basis. And 9 to 5 Mac goes on and says, of particular interest to parents is the ability to impose restrictions on their children, but it hasn't taken long for kids to figure out how to bypass the limits. That's why parents, we need to work with the kids, not against them. Oh, this is going to help restrict it. No, we have to work with them to motivate them. Hey, we're using this a lot. How? And a lot of students, if you go back on our podcast, we have students suggest ways that they can limit their screen time, that they can work on less screen time, more focus on real life stuff. We've got to work with them, not against them. Business Insider says kids are finding ingenious ways to get around screen time controls on their Apple devices, according to reports from parents posted online. One 7-year-old tricked the feature by uninstalling and reinstalling Instagram a few times. A 13-year-old changed the date and time on his device to circumvent the downtime. Kids are geniuses. That's why we got to work with them. We have to motivate them. And that's what we do in Parent University on step 1 and 2. We work in the first 60 days to get them motivated for their college experience. What can parents do if your student has an Apple device? Ensure their iOS is up to date and configured to iOS 12, 13, 14, whatever it is when you're watching this, and turn on the screen time feature. Just try it. Do it with your kids. Don't do it against them. It will cause an uproar, most likely. Configure screen time settings based on what is appropriate for your student and their age. If they don't want to do it, then you figure that out. But remember, you're the parent. You pay for the device. You pay for the phone. You pay for the roof over their head and the food in their tummy. And this is your property, not theirs. Privacy of a child that is under 18 years old, I would argue, and I'm going to get the heat from this from your students, but I'm on your side. Privacy does not exist for a child as much. And I hear from a lot of moms that say, listen, there is not a conversation that a 14-year-old should be having with a young woman, a 14-year-old, her son with a young woman, that should not be monitored. And I don't disagree with that, because you want to know what your kids, that's all a part of the parenting. Now, don't rely solely on Apple screen time to keep your children safe. Instead, have a regular discussion about digital safety with your family. Teach your student how they can self-regulate their screen time and empower them to use technology in a positive way. Our friends over at Unglue, Unglue, help you to unglue from the screen a little bit. They're another option to consider. They motivate your student to go unlock more minutes by vacuuming the house and doing things. Tons of positive ratings. Go take a look at them. I don't get paid by them. I don't own them. How can parents encourage positive screen time habits, model positive screen time behaviors, set clear screen time guidelines, and let students regulate themselves within those boundaries? Challenge your students to find offline activities that they can enjoy. Teach students to use social media as a tool to build their resume as opposed to using it as a pastime. Productive pastimes with the phones instead of just a pastime of laziness. Discuss the repercussions of negative screen time habits. Talk about how to get fired when you post bad stuff online and how it glues and consumes you. Remind your student nothing is private online. Now, guys, I want to give you a free copy of the first 3 chapters of my latest book, and this is a pretty hot book. I'm going to make this offer to you right now. If you go to smartsocial.com, you're going to see a pop-up, or you can go to smartsocial.com/survey, and it'll give you the first 3 chapters of this book, and you give us feedback, and we email you a copy of the book. Then it'll give you the whole book if you go rate it on Amazon. It's pretty easy. It's fun to do, and you're helping me out. So fill out that survey. You're going to get an instant first 3 chapters. Chapter number 1 teaches you, let me just show you real quick, how social media can hurt your career, how to get kicked out of 2 countries with 1 Facebook post, how to get fired with 1 tweet. Chapter 2 is how to respond to negative posts. I teach you how to let things go on social media. Chapter 3 is how to see your online results as others see them. How to shine online in any industry, and a real estate professional teaches you actually how to do that. How to search for yourself the way employers and clients will. And then if you rate it, we give you the full thing. But that's not all. I want you, please consider taking our online safety webinar. Get everything you need to know about the negative effects of social media, popular teen apps, and how you can keep your family safe online. Go to smartsocial.com. You'll see it at the top of the page. It's our only webinar. You can click on social media webinar at the top of the page as well on smartsocial.com. Dive in with me. Let me show you some of the things that will protect your family. Guys, I'm so thankful you watched this. Hey, do me a favor, reach out to your school, show them our Parent University program at smartsocial.com. For a 1 low rate, we can protect your whole community and put them through our program that teaches them how to audit their kids to see who's saying stuff about your family online. Trust me, it exists. Number 2, how to set a plan for your kids to get them looking at college instead of looking at Netflix, looking at college instead of looking at Snapchat. And then number 3, the skills you need to build a positive resume before and while you need them. That's both, because, oh, it's too early, I don't need them in time. It turns out that too many parents are saying that, and 85% of the people that we survey need them right now, and that's the majority. I hope you'll take it for free, and I hope you'll sign up for Parent University. Go take that the webinar and go take a look at it. Guys, I hope that you will keep it light, bright, and polite, because your kids are watching and they see what you do, and you are their leader, you are their mentor, and it is okay for your kids to be upset with you once a month, once a week, because if you love them, then you're not worried about them liking you as much. You want to make sure that they are prepped for the future, and I support you 110%. Thanks so much. I'm Josh Oakes. I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for supporting me and being a part of my family here at smartsocial.com. I'll see you soon. Take care.